Welcome to Amit Shakil's 5858 War and Love Report. I am Amir.
Ukrainian forces advance in Zaporizhia region while Russia reports heavy fighting in Donetsk.
Experts say the EU energy crisis is over for now, but some volatility remains as the bloc reduces its dependency on Russian gas.
The mother of Spanish football coach Luis Rubiales has gone on hunger strike as the kiss he gave a player becomes the subject of a sexual assault investigation.
Ukrainian forces are claiming important advances in their counter-offensive in the Zaporizhia region. The Ministry of Defense says the army has completely regained control over one of the key points at the center of recent heavy fighting, the village of Robotina.
Збройні сили України на півдні продовжують наступальні дії. Після звільнення Роботино наші збройні сили рухаються південно-східніше цього населеного пункту і рухаються по напрямках Новоданилівка, Новопрокіпівка, Мала Токмачка, Очеретувати.
Russia has reported fighting in Donetsk region near Bakhmut, where there's heavy artillery fire. No major destruction in Russia has been reported. In the Ukrainian city of Kryvyi, nightly Russian missile strikes have destroyed 2 private houses. The Russian air defense forces say they shot down an unmanned aerial vehicle flying towards Moscow in the Lyobertsky area of the city. There were no casualties or serious damage, but officials say local residents were frightened by the attack.
Just 1 year after prices broke all records, the energy crisis in Europe seems to be over, at least for now. Monthly household bills that ran to hundreds of euros are over for the time being, as prices have now dropped to pre-Ukraine war levels. Experts say that while there will be some ups and downs, customers should now have a little more breathing space.
The volatility, is always in the order of 5, 10, 20% fluctuation, is nothing as dramatic as we have seen and we are used to now see on the market. We need to remember that the fundamentals are also pretty encouraging when it comes, for example, with the gas storage. Gas storage in Europe is now full by more than 90%, and the demand for gas in Europe remains reduced in the order of 20% vis-à-vis the pre-crisis level.
A year ago, gas prices marked their record high, reaching €300 per megawatt hour, while gas storage facilities were at 79%. This August, the situation's much better, with prices at €34 per megawatt hour and storage facilities almost full. and that should allow governments to change course.
So while last year governments have jumped into this field by subsidizing energy bills for all, it is now very important not to do that anymore, because we are not in the middle of a crisis, but to be very selective and provide targeted support to the most vulnerable in society.
Surprises can't be ruled out this coming winter, but right now observers expect the situation to get better as the EU deepens its energy transition and moves away from its dependency on Russian gas.
Prosecutors have opened an inquiry into 2 explosions at an unlicensed liquefied petroleum gas filling station that left 2 people dead and 56 people injured north of Romania's capital, Bucharest, over the weekend. The destruction was widespread. Some of the injured were firefighters who rushed to the station in the Crevedia commune to extinguish the blaze caused by the first explosion before the second occurred later on Saturday. Several people are in critical condition with severe burns. Authorities temporarily evacuated residents within a radius of 700 meters of the fire that started while gas was transferred from one tanker to another. As hundreds of people queued to give blood, Romania's president described the explosions as a tragedy and said he was profoundly saddened by what had happened.
Angry demonstrations have taken place in Libya against a meeting between the Libyan Minister of Foreign Affairs of the National Unity Government and her Israeli counterpart. Talks between Najla Amangoush and Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen took place secretly last week in Rome, sparking anger and controversy in the country. The government in Tripoli has since suspended Mangoush pending an investigation, but insists the meeting did not involve any discussion, agreement or consultation. A statement from Israel's foreign ministry quoted Cohen as saying they talked about preserving the heritage of Libyan Jews and renovating synagogues and Jewish cemeteries.
France's education minister, Gabriel Attal, has announced his country is set to ban young girls from wearing the abaya in state-run schools. The abaya is a loose-fitting full-length robe worn by some Muslim women. France enforces a strict ban on religious signs in state schools, including the wearing of large crosses and Islamic headscarves. The move comes after months of debate and is likely to anger many in France's 5 million-strong Muslim community. The right has been pushing for the ban, but the left argues it will encroach on civil liberties.
The mother of Spain's football chief has sought sanctuary in a church as Spanish prosecutors announced they're opening a preliminary investigation of alleged sexual assault over the kiss Luis Rubiales gave Jenny Hermoso at the World Cup.
Que hay un acoso y derribo que no es justo, que su madre, que es una persona muy creyente, se ha refugiado en Dios, que se ha puesto en huelga de hambre, que no quiere salir de la iglesia, que su familia estamos sufriendo muchísimo por él, que no nos parece justo lo que está pasando.
But the player, Jenny Hermoso, insists she did not consent to the kiss, a stance that is backed by her teammates and some government ministers. Although Luis Rubiales later apologised to the player, he has refused to bow to mounting pressure to resign over the issue, claiming there was nothing forced about the kiss.
No voy a dimitir.
A mother reunited with her biological son after 42 years apart. Jimmy Lippert-Thyden has traveled all the way from the United States to Santiago for this very moment. He is just one of the thousands of children who were trafficked during Augusto Pinochet's regime. Thanks to the NGO Nos Buscamos, Thyden discovered that his adoption was falsified and that his biological family had not consented to the move.
She responds to all of these texts. She says, Mijo, you have no idea the oceans I've cried for you. How many nights I've laid awake praying that God let me live long enough to learn what happened to you.
Through painstaking research, Nos Buscamos discovered that he was born in a hospital in Santiago. His mother was told he had died and his body had been disposed of. A DNA test confirmed he was 100% Chilean and helped connect him with his first cousin and subsequently his mother. Constanza del Rio, founder of the NGO, says that over the last 9 years they have overseen over 450 reunions between adoptees and their biological families.
This was not for saving them from poorness or saving them from starving or whatever. That was the movie they presented.
Ukrainian forces advance in Zaporizhia region.
These kids were stolen from poor families, poor women that didn't know how to defend themselves.
During Pinochet's 17-year reign, child trafficking was just one of the many human rights violations that took place in Chile. According to government figures, thousands of people were killed during the dictatorship, with tens of thousands more tortured or imprisoned.
Created in 1958 in honor of its Franco.
The real story was that these kids were stolen from poor families, poor women that didn't know how to defend themselves.
During Pinochet's 17-year reign, child trafficking was just one of the many human rights violations that took place in Chile. According to government figures, thousands of people were killed during the dictatorship, with tens of thousands more tortured or imprisoned.
Created in 1958 in honor of its Franco-Romanian namesake, the Georgia NSQ Festival has since transformed into what is considered one of the major meeting places for musicians and music lovers from all over the world. Dozens of concerts and competitions for young musicians will now take place in the Romanian capital, Bucharest. The Georgia NSQ Philharmonic Orchestra got the ball rolling, with conductor Christian Muchalaru and Coutier Capuçon, one of the greatest cello virtuosos. They notably performed the concert in B minor, Opus 104, by Dvorak.